Alright, so I just wanted to really quick run you through how to compress stuff with Media Encoder. So I have this random video here. I'm just going to pop it open and check out the settings. So it's full HD, about 2 minutes long, and it's 30 frame rates, 30 frames a second. So all you really need to do, and for the record, this is like a very old version of Media Encoder. This is like CS6, but same basic principle. Grab your video, drag it the heck in there, and then usually I will change the setting to this H.264. So the legacy version is basically like an old way of calculating things. Eventually it'll be retired, but for now it's still kicking. So I'm just going to use this new one. You can open this, and there's like a bunch of little presets in here for just different things you can choose. So the closest thing I can find is this HD 1080. There's also different versions for stuff like Vimeo, which honestly I've not found a huge difference between these. I think that it's like still HD, it's still same frame rate as this. I think it just maybe compresses it a tiny bit more kind of thing. So I'm just going to grab that one for Grinsies. And if you need to modify the settings, like I don't want this 29.97 frame rate. So what I would do is just double click that to open the settings. If you want to crop your video, you can do that. And then just go into Video tab here, and you just want to change frame rate to whatever you actually want it to be. Leave pixels as square. I will leave a lot of these as like pretty much the same thing. There's some deep dives into like what all of these different settings do. I'll change his name to 2, just for funsies. And then you should pretty much be able, so you can see the estimated file size it also gives you, which is nice. So go ahead and hit OK. The other thing you can do, so like now I'm curious, I did this before, and it was like, hey, you want a file twice the size as it was previously, right? Also, I should add that our file was about 200 megs. The original file was like, I think 200 some megs. So what I'm going to do is compress this and just be like, cool. Okay, yeah, so I'm just an idiot, so don't do the full HD thing, because that will give you a larger file. I just forgot there's an estimated file size. Grumble. Alright, so I'm just going to actually just change your preset here, which probably makes a lot more sense. So I'm just going to go down. So probably anything, if you're looking for like the ultimate compression, probably anything for like Vimeo or YouTube is going to be fine. So I'm going to grab YouTube HD and just see what that gives me for, again, 30 frames. Doesn't really seem to mess with stuff. So I'm going to go back to the Vimeo one because it seems to be compressing a little bit more. This doesn't need to be, I mean, I'm not looking for like trash quality, but it doesn't need to be, super crazy quality. And again, just change that frame rate. It's not going to make a huge difference because it's 0.03 frames a second, but it's still just like a weird thing. So go ahead, hit OK. Again, you have your output file path. And then once you're ready, just go ahead and hit play. It should go through and just sort of whir through. And then once it's done, it will spit out a file that is usually pretty darn close to that estimated file size. So in my case, when I ran this before, it was kicking out a 400 meg file because I'm an idiot and that's the settings that I chose for it. So with this one, it should go through and basically, again, make a file that was originally, where are we going? 236 megs, squishes it down into a like 72 meg video, which is super delightful and super easy. I'm sure the new version of Media Encoder has changed the UI a little bit, but it's the same basic principle. There's also free alternatives to this, such as Handbrake was a pretty decent one I found. So if you can't access Media Encoder or you don't want to, deal with paying for software, I guess, there are free alternatives out there. I'm using Media Encoder because, frankly, I have it, and I find that it usually works pretty well. So that's pretty much it. I am going to hang out here. Like, once it's done, it'll just export. You can see it's made a temporary file here. This will sort of finish, once it's done being edited, it'll sort of finish finalizing, doing whatever it's doing, and then it'll pop up as a video you can play. So for grins, I'll hang out for that, but there's not really a huge amount to really watch here, so I'm just going to kind of, let it go, I guess, and ramble a little bit while it's doing that. So you can also export multiple videos at once. Like, obviously, if I were to, this is basically just like your render queue. So once it's rendered, it'll just be marked as complete, and then you can, if you want to do like a bunch of videos at once, you can do that. So the other thing that you can do is like you have all the presets pretty much like kicking around over here. So if you need to, you can double click on these, right click on these and do preset settings, and you can edit the settings there, so this should pretty much change it universally, if I recall correctly. So if you don't want to like change your frame rate every time, you could change it here, and then just do like save a copy, and it should. Actually, I think that might generate a new preset for you. But either way, you can mess with your presets here. And I believe you can make new presets, which is super convenient. Like, again, if I didn't want to, grab that, like, Vimeo, whatever, every single time I did stuff. So let's try, we had this Vimeo, let's do Vimeo Full HD. I'm going to go ahead and should be an option to create preset. I'll just call this custom HD 30 frames. Cool. And you can, basically this will just take all the settings from that, and if we hit OK, we should somewhere in this mess, oh yes, here we go. I'm going to actually just go ahead and delete that, but we should have our custom preset that, you see it's marked as done. But anywho, so now we have this gun video too, and this is 72.3 megs, which is considerably better than 236. So I'm basically just doing this because I need to, save space on my Google Drive. So that is compressing things in Media Encoder. And again, if we drag this original video in here, now if we grab this, we should be able to grab our custom 30 HD frames thing from here instead of scrolling all the way down to the video one. So fun times.